Alright, YouTube, what's up? How's it going today? And pretty much this is a Sony gaming discussion, pretty much on Sony's current position in the gaming industry and more. Basically, what it's going to be is all about Sony, kind of how like I did that one with Nintendo and their current problems, but this is more about Sony and their position, because they don't got, if you really look at Sony in the home console market, which I'm mainly going to be talking about, and I'm going to go into Vita, but that's mainly where a lot of their problems are, is the handheld. But in the home console, they're doing great. So pretty much, how's it going, old Dirty 33?
What's going on, Dave? What's going on, YouTube?
And how's it going, Baba Kakarok?
Bakakarok. Everybody knows it.
How you doing today, buddy?
Doing great, man. Nice being here.
Right. Pretty much, yeah, what we're going to go into, it's going to be like an hour long. I'm not doing podcasts. That's a new thing on my channel. Podcasts will not go over an hour. You know, I'm just done with that. I've been noticing lately myself watching podcasts, you know, people are getting up to 2-3 hours, which I am guilty of. I've done long podcasts like that before, but I usually try to keep them at like 2 hours, sometimes an hour and a half. But the more podcasts I see people do, like 2, 3. I've been even seeing 5 and 6 hour podcasts, you know, and that's ridiculous. One of the weirdos lately, Mr. Red Fox, he's getting a little carried away with like his podcast. I don't know what you would talk about in a podcast for 5 to 6 hours, but I mean, I couldn't even go on about Nintendo that long. I mean, then I didn't even watch his video because I stay away from his videos. I watch them very rarely, but that podcast, couldn't tell you what he was going on for about 5 hours, but he's going on about Nintendo. That's a little crazy. But pretty much 1 hour, and that's good enough. This is going to be basically about Sony and, you know, the PS4, what they're doing since they came out at launch, and, you know, stuff like that, and, you know, how they, you know, kind of gotten better over the generations. And, you know, some people are saying that this generation with the PS4 is going to probably be, it's probably going to top the PS2 in sales. You know, Sony's just doing great. What's your overall thoughts of Sony, Old Dirty, this generation? Do you think they're on point? Do you think they're, you know, nailing it? Are you happy with what Sony's doing?
No, I don't really have a problem with what Sony is doing. You know what I'm saying? You know, congratulations to them, you know, for selling, you know, the most consoles of over 20 million or something like that. So obvious, you know, they doing something right. They learned from their last generation, you know what I'm saying, their mistakes. And, you know, they just came out, you know what I'm saying, guns blazing at everybody, you know what I'm saying. And I can't do nothing but tip my hat off to them because, you know, they learning, you know what I'm saying. They learning from last generation and they learning now as they go. So they doing it.
Well, they pretty much took, you know, the 360's playbook, like a lot of people say. You know, they took the playbook of the 360 and ran with it. Now we're noticing things like, you know, Sony's got exclusive rights on the PS4 to Call of Duty Black Ops 3. You know, and I believe are they making a Black Ops 3 for last generation? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
I don't know if they are or not. I'm not sure, but I'm saying for next generation, I know exclusive rights to Black Ops 3 is Sony, and that's some of the shit that we've seen, you know, on the 360 last generation, you know, and Sony just seems to be taking all their plays from their playbook and just rolling with them. I mean, nobody can deny or, you know, nobody can sit here and tell me different about Sony's pretty much riding on third party this generation. Would a lot of you guys agree with that?
Absolutely. But, you know, it's like PS3 and PS2 was the same way.
Sony's always kind of used third party in a sense. They have some great exclusives. If you were to sit here and tell me who has the better exclusives out of Microsoft and Sony, it's Sony. Sony's the close. I would say at all of them, Nintendo's like king of exclusives. You know, that's what their main thing is. But if you had to say, you know, Microsoft or Sony, which one would come second? I would say Sony over Microsoft. Would you guys agree?
Yeah. What I like about Sony exclusives is that they have probably the best balance between Western and Japanese games.
Mm-hmm.
Like Microsoft exclusives is largely Western, And last generation, they did have a couple of interesting Japanese exclusive, but now with the Xbox One, there's like only a handful from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Japanese developers don't care about Microsoft right now.
No, they don't. They're not even doing good over in Japan. Microsoft.
No,
It's horrible.
every other console is selling better than the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's competing with the PlayStation TV, but that's basically just a recycled micro console from the Vita.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, let's get in. Now that you brought that up, what about that PlayStation TV? I noticed they've been dropping the price on that. I've seen it as low as $40, and some people even told me they've even seen it lower. That's one thing Sony put out recently. It's kind of not doing that great, I'd say. You know, would you agree? You basically can only just play Vita, not even all of Vita games, only certain Vita games, and basically it's a streaming box. You can have your PlayStation 4 in 2 rooms. Is that basically what it does?
Yeah, that's one of the main selling points. But I don't know if you remember. Do you recall seeing an article a couple months back about how, I can't remember who said it exactly, but some Sony representative mentioned that the Vita console was a legacy console, and when people were all up in arms about that, he specifically mentioned the original Vita model, which is what the PlayStation TV basically is. It's a recycled model of the original Vita model, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Because,
okay.
what happened is that one of the biggest selling points about the original Vita model was the OLED screen, which basically makes the screen more vivid, more colorful, makes the colors pop out more. But it was too expensive. Nobody was buying it. So Sony cut its ties with whoever's making it. I can't remember who.
Mm-hmm.
They decided just instead of just discontinuing it altogether, they decided to try and make it into a micro console, which is why they don't care about putting on constant fire sales lately.
Oh, okay.
'Cause,
I think the whole PlayStation TV ordeal. I really strongly believe in this. That I think the next PlayStation console is going to be a streaming console. If not the next one, it's going to be the one after the next generation. They might come out with one more console that is basically, you know, an actual console, and then maybe the next one. But I don't know with how they're trying to push a lot of different things with their whole PlayStation Now and this whole, you know, PlayStation TV where you get a controller with it and you're basically streaming PS3 games, PS2. Well, eventually, I don't know if they got PS2 and PS1 all in there now. I know PlayStation 3 is a big part of it. I haven't looked at it lately, but I think eventually they'll get PlayStation 4 on there, and then they'll have like maybe PlayStation 5. That's one direction I could see Sony going because they're really trying to get PlayStation Now. They're really trying to push that. And I see a lot of other companies like NVIDIA doing it with a NVIDIA Grid. And that actually, you can sell a console pretty cheap that way if they're actually just streaming the games to you. That's why that console's so cheap, that NVIDIA Grid. And I could see Sony trying to do something like that. I'm not saying it's for sure, but it's just one of my theories. So PlayStation TV, none of us in here have a PlayStation TV.
I actually bought it day one.
Oh, okay, so you have.
The messed up part is that I could have like imported it from Hong Kong for like $70, but I said I'll just buy it in America. And I bought the $100 model, which in hindsight I probably shouldn't have, but I like the idea of it. But because a lot of people were talking about how the NX might be a hybrid console, and I basically do that with the PlayStation TV and the Vita, which is quite nice. But the problem is, the PS TV, it's because it basically blows up on the big screen. Like I own a 32-inch TV, and that's too big for the PS TV. So if I was to play a PSP game, it would be like you'll see like a lot of jagged lines. It would not look pretty. So if you already get a PS TV, it's best to have connected to a smaller TV, like I don't know, 24-inch or something like that.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know much about the whole PlayStation TV. I've been looking into them since they've been getting so damn cheap. I've been reading a lot of reviews. Some people say the streaming isn't all that great to the PS4. It's not really. They said it's not really the best quality. That's what some people say. Some people I talk to, it's actually good. But I was looking at some, reviews on the actual like Walmart site that sells it, different Best Buy, and I've seen people's out. Some people like it, some people don't. And I've talked to some people who have it. They basically just use it as a streaming, thing, a streaming box, so they can play in another room. And which that's cool. I'd like to see eventually all the Vita games come to it, and I might think more of getting one. But if it gets any cheaper, I'm just gonna snag one. If I see it for $20, I'm just gonna grab it. I mean, that's fucking cheap because they start out at $100 for that damn thing, and then went right down to like 40. I've been seeing it. Some people said they've seen it cheaper, like $30. So I don't know. But yeah, they got. Huh?
One thing to note is the compatibility list. Yeah, it's at this point it's going to be impossible for all Vita games to be compatible due to the gimmicks the Vita has.
Mm-hmm.
But between all three regions has different compatibility lists. Like I think Europe has like 967, and America has over 1,000, and I can't remember what Japan's was, but it's all over the place. Because it's dependent on how much does Sony give a shit to make it compatible. Like, in America, you cannot play Metal Gear Solid for PS1, but in Japan you can.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna assume it's due to copyright issues, because PS TV you cannot use Netflix, even though you can use it on the Vita. But it's all dependent because Netflix doesn't care to make the programming for PS TV.
Oh, so you can't use it. That's one thing you would think Netflix would be on.
Yeah, at least the same year. It's weird.
So that's interesting. That's probably one reason why it's so damn cheap, because it's not really offering too much. Would you say it has a lot to offer for what it is?
I mean, at $40, yeah, it's a steal. That's basically the cost of a handheld game.
No, but I'm saying when this thing came out, that's what I'm trying to get at. When it was $100, the reason they dropped the price, it don't really have much to offer. That's why it is how cheap it is now.
Yes.
Like $100, do you think that thing was worth it?
I don't regret buying it at $100, but yeah, a lot of people are decrying about that, and Sony doesn't mind putting it on sale constantly because Sony and Microsoft, they consider software sales to be profitable.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of their hardware sales, they don't make money off of that. I think they actually lose out on money.
Well, supposedly they are making a profit off of the PS4 now. Sony has said that. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they are making a profit off the PS4. It's probably not a big profit, but they are making a profit off the PS4 now. So hopefully they will use that towards, different making studios and all that shit. More. That means more games for us. That's cool. But basically the PlayStation TV, long story short, what it's for is, I would say, streaming PS Vita games, certain ones that they let you use on that, and basically PlayStation Now, you would say, right?
Yes. You can also play certain PSP and PS1 games, but yeah, the stream.
That's all. Now, is that separate from PlayStation Now? Can I buy a PS1 and PS2 game on there and not have to use the PlayStation Now service?
Yes, you can go to the PSN store, which it should have. Although for some reason they'll have some games, and you'll try to buy it, and it'll just outright tell you cannot play this. Go somewhere else.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I'm very tempted to get one. Like I said, if I see it ever for I'm gonna probably get it. I'll probably buy it at $40. If I seen it for $20, I'd just grab it that day. But my thing, if I heard that you could play all Vita games on it, I would have grabbed it a while ago. But then when they heard these certain Vita games, I do like the concept that I can stream my PS4 to another room. That's cool. But for what it is, it sounds pretty cool. It's either for you or not for you. Some people don't really care for the whole, I can play in this other room or I can play Vita games, but it's not a bad, I think Sony has more. I think they have other plans for that thing than what it's doing now. I think eventually down the road that's going to be probably the console that we're using to actually stream these other games like PlayStation 5 in the future or PlayStation 6. I think that's their plan for this whole streaming thing, but who knows? Other than that, let's talk about the Vita. Okay, this is one reason why I did want to get you in here, Baba Kakarot. I might probably saying your name wrong, but with the PlayStation Vita, you know, some people say it's dead. Some people say it's good. It's got games coming still. Sony did announce that they're not going to do no AAA games no more, but they are third party does support it. Mostly indie games. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's from what I've read, they are trying to keep it going until 2022, and I would actually kind of believe that because the PSP only just recently got discontinued, late last year. Can't remember the exact date, but yeah, what's ridiculous about the Vita is that it's basically Bizarro Sony. Because at launch, they basically pulled a PS3. The Vita was $300 at launch, and the thing is, it came separate, where you had to also buy memory cards. And the thing is, those memory cards are proprietary. They're expensive as hell. So, at the time, the biggest memory card you could get was 32 gigabytes, and it was, I think, $80. So like $380 altogether. That's almost the cost of the PS4. It was not worth it. The problem with the Vita actually suffered the same from the PSP because when the PSP first came out, it was touted as you could play PS2 games on the go.
Wait a second. I'm not cutting you off or anything, but somebody said in the chat, and I don't want to bring this to the Sony podcast right here. We're talking nothing but Sony, but supposedly Sayatora, I would say his name wrong, Iwata died today.
Oh, shit.
Yes. He died at the age of 55. Nintendo has just issued a short statement announcing that President Satoru Iwata has passed away at the age of 55. I mean, I guess it's all over the internet. Iwata was forced to skip last year's E3 due to his poor health, and shortly afterwards underwent surgery to move the bile duct growth. So I guess maybe, I don't know if this is over, but just saying that, you know, I don't go after nobody. You know, I feel sorry for the guy's family and everything, but this could be a good thing for Nintendo. But I'm not going that a whole other thing. It'll be a whole other thing. But just, I saw it in the chat, and I'm like, is somebody fucking trolling? And I looked it up. Yeah, he died. But go on what you're saying, Baba Cockrock. Sorry, ma'am.
No, okay, you completely threw me out with that news. But, if that's
I'm not laughing the dude's dead. It's just kind of funny how it all came in. I don't laugh that nobody dies or nothing like that.
My condolences if that's true, but that's just out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's all over the internet. Like I seen on a couple sites. Like, damn, I was like, unless that's a good troll right there, but it's all over the place. You know, it's on different websites. We'll see.
Troll, it's everywhere.
Yeah. So go on what you're saying, man. I didn't mean to cut you off. Somebody said it in the live chat, and I was like, there got to be trolling with that.
Okay. So yeah, what's up, saying? The PS Vita actually suffers from similar problems the PSP had, because yeah, when the PSP first came out, its selling point was that you could play PS2 games on the go, and that actually did sell first until the PS3 came out, and it almost overshadowed it completely.
Mm-hmm.
And Vita's big selling point was you could play PS3 games on the go, but now it's overshadowed by the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing too was when the Vita first came out, a lot of people, a lot of developers didn't know how to properly optimize it. So a lot of the budgets for the games were really high, to the point that even games that did manage to sell over 1 million wasn't able to make a significant profit from it. And because of that, a lot of the first party kind of gave up. Or actually, there is one specific studio I want to mention. Hold on. It is Ben Studio who developed the Uncharted game for the Vita, and they said they're under development hell for 2 years for a new project, but they had to constantly scrap it. And when they're finally getting in the production stage, Sony actually pulled them out to develop a game on the PS4. So a lot of developers who are trying to develop exclusively for the Vita are now turned over to the PS4, which pretty much gets rid of majority of the system exclusives, which is why nowadays what's popular now is brand exclusives instead of system exclusives. Because like Microsoft is trying to build it with their PC and Xbox One, Nintendo with the Wii U and the 3DS, now with Sony is PS4, Vita, and PS3 all still going.
Okay.
But as for whether the Vita has games or not, the list I follows it has almost 400 games in the US, with a total of 641 unique games released on the Vita so far. Oh, sorry, hold on a second.
Okay. So it's got games, it's a lot of people say the Vita's got no games. The damn thing's got games. Like he just said, would you agree, Old Dirty? You have a Vita, right?
Yeah, I got the Vita. It has games, but it has more of the indie games. You can download like PlayStation 1 games, from the store. Like retail games that may be coming out are more like RPG type games or JRPG. So, I mean, if you're looking for some type of other game, other genre, it's really not there.
Okay, sorry, I just got back. Did I miss anything?
You were just elaborating about the PS Vita games, because Old Dirty has a PS Vita too.
Okay.
And I figured you were doing something, so I just had him go on more about the games. What you were talking about too. But Old Dirty, you can finish, and you go back to what you were saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they got more indie games than the big title games or titles from big third party companies. I think what Sony went wrong at with the Vita is, they should have just had it as a handheld and just had games that come out for the Vita that's like unique to the Vita, but you can't play anywhere else. Mm-hmm. But instead they try to sell it as, hey, play your PS3 games on the go. No. I don't want to play my PS3 games on the go. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to look at my PlayStation 3 and PS4 games on a smaller screen when I'm used to playing them on a big screen. Just like I said before, who wants to play Witcher 3 on the Vita on a small-ass screen when you just took it off your 50-inch TV? I think Sony should have just had it as, let it be a handheld and let, third party make good games. They don't have to be the same games we get on console. You know what I'm saying? It don't gotta always be a Killzone or Call of Duty, you know what I'm saying, or God of War or something like that. Make different titles for your handheld. That's what a handheld's supposed to be. It's supposed to be different from your console. When you try to make it just like your console, it's not going to do that well. It'll do good, but it won't do as well. That's just like when you look at the 3DS. The 3DS got 9 times out of 10 have games that you're not going to play on a Nintendo console. It's just for the 3DS. And I think Sony should have went that route with the Vita and also the PSP too. Instead of trying to play your old games on the go. Like, no, give me some different games. Give me some games that will utilize, the Vita,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, what were you talking about? Are you finished, Old Dirty?
Yeah.
Okay. What were you saying, Baba Kakarot, the rest of what you were getting at with the whole Vita and their games?
No, I just want to respond to Old Dirty's comments. The messed up part is that a lot of the system exclusives on the PS Vita are actually being ported to the PS4 right now. Like one of the more interesting titles, Gravity Rush, which if you haven't played it, it's probably one of the best games that is optimized on this system.
Yeah, it is a good game.
Yeah, it's a very amazing game. Recommend it to anybody who owns a Vita. But yeah, right now there's rumors that it is being currently ported to the PS4, and the sequel that's being made is being developed for the PS4 right now. But those are just rumors. But another exclusive that I really enjoyed this year, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, which is only in Japan, was a Vita exclusive, and it's coming out next year to America and Europe for the Vita and the PS4. So,
Okay.
a lot of the reasons is that, in Japan it sells great Vita, but everywhere else it's the PS4. It's all about the PS4.
Yeah.
So Sony believes that by porting their exclusive to the PS4, bring more recognition, more sales, profit. Because what the Vita is, it's basically what's keeping it alive is the software sales. It's not the hardware, because I think it's only about almost reaching 11 million at this point. 10.6 million at last I read. But yeah, I think at this point, if there's going to be AAA games expected from third party, first party Sony has no fucks to give about the Vita at this point.
Yeah, the whole thing with the Vita that scares me, that I want to get one for the off-screen play, but it just don't look like Sony really gives a shit about that console. They're really just giving it to the only ones that seem to really care about it, of that handheld, is the indie developers. I don't see too much of like Ubisoft or even EA or any of them even giving a shit about it. Very little third-party games, but it gets the Lego games, right? Kind of like how the Wii U gets the third-party Lego games. Like they do get Lego games, I think, right?
Yeah, you recently got Jurassic Park, Tetris Ultimate came on the Vita, and MLB 15, the show, also came on the Vita. That's about it, as far as I can remember from Western. I know there's like
Alright. The Vita basically, that's Sony's weak point, is the Vita. They need to get the fuck out of the handheld market. I know people like the Vita. I would want a Vita. It seems like a handheld that would suit me because I like the console experience. But in all reality, that is somewhere that Sony does not shine. They have never shined in the handheld market from what I could tell. I remember when I got the PSP, my ex-girlfriend, she bought it for me day one. And I had it, I liked it, but then I played it for a little while, and then I noticed that, the games just took so damn long to load. And I didn't like that. The whole movie thing, I didn't like the whole how they went about doing movies on it. And just overall, I did not really enjoy the handheld. I ended up actually giving it to my nephews. But that was like, how much was that when it came out? It was like $250, I believe, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So you got that as a handheld. That's high price for a handheld. So I think that's one reason why I did, a lot of people didn't care for the PSP. And I think another reason with the PS Vita, that came out at like $300 or more, right? Wasn't that its asking price when it came out?
Plus the memory card, which could effectively go up to $400.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying you need a memory card too. I think the thing that hurt the Vita was the price, the memory card, and on top of that, when I went to GameStop to look at the Vita, the GameStop clerk was explaining to me pretty much where he had me think, the way he had everything, how he explained things. I needed a AT&T account to have my Vita. That's another thing I got turned off from it, and I've heard friends, at the time when that thing came out, like, I think we need an AT&T account for you. That's one reason why my other friend didn't buy it, but I don't think you needed that, did you?
No, that was a deal they had with AT&T with like a 3G model. That was completely separate. Because nowadays they cut off ties with that deal. So if you're to buy Vita, it's just going to be the Wi-Fi model.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they only had that if you actually wanted to, play on the go, like have Wi-Fi anywhere. That's what the AT&T was for. But if you didn't want it, you couldn't just be outside in a park somewhere and just, jump online and and play a quick match. You would have to be somewhere with like some Wi-Fi.
Hmm.
Yeah, but in Japan, they don't really care about that. They just go for ad hocing. So, you know,
So it's basically the people that really, so over in Japan, they really care about the Vita, but America, not really a thing.
yeah, America is the least by far, I think, out of the major regions. I think even Europe sells more Vitas than I remember. But, even then in Japan, I think it's only sold about 4.5 million right now.
Hmm. Yeah, the Vita sales right now, I mean, this is going by VG charts. It's at 12.1 million. I don't know how correct VG charts is because I know the guy really hasn't been updated. I think he updated 4 days ago, and the latest sales of Vita is 12.1 million. That's pretty bad when you put it next to the 3DS. That's at 53.2 million. You know what I'm saying? That's not really good. But yeah, that's basically the Vita. I think the reason it's got its problems is because, basically it was expensive when it came out. The whole memory stick, like you said, a lot of people didn't realize how much those things were. I just think overall don't have third party support, don't have good third party support, and the AAA games that don't have that a lot. And that's one thing you always hear people bring up with the Vita, like where's the AAA games? Where's the exclusives that are real, big? Like how they did bring out at first the whole, Killzone. What was their Killzone game called?
Mercenaries.
Mm-hmm. They had Mercenaries, had an Uncharted game. What other some good games I had for it that was exclusive to the Vita that was big?
Like originally exclusive?
like AAA exclusives.
Oh gosh, Gravity Rush is another one I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, hold on. If I even remember correctly, there's only like 5 exclusives ever made for like the Vita in North America.
That's horrible. No wonder the Vita's just fucking not even.
I think I can even recall all of them on too. Like, I think Killzone Mercenaries, Uncharted, Golden Abyss. There's also a card game, Uncharted. That's 3. And there's Little Big Planet for the Vita. Shit, I can't remember the last one.
That's all. Yeah, well, what's another good one that a lot of people like? Wasn't it the one? What was that game that started with a T? I can't remember the name of it.
T.
Terra. What was it called? Terra.
Yeah, that's another Vita exclusive that's being ported over to the PS4. So another system exclusive.
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Okay, so that's 5 then. So there's that. So that's the 5 exclusives for North America. In Europe, there's 13 exclusives that were developed for the Vita. And Japan has roughly 245 exclusives.
Yeah, the Vita's this. I think the Vita, to me, I think the whole, the indie games will keep it going for a while, but I think Sony don't have no plans of doing really much they're not going to do too much more with the Vita. I think it's the Vita is pretty much the Wii U of the hand. That's what it is, basically.
It's our Wii U.
It's the Wii U. That's basically what's up with it. All right, next thing, let's talk about the PS4. Pretty much the PS4, you just can't stop the damn console. The console has the install base of the Wii U and the Xbox One. No matter what this console does, it just keeps selling. Nobody knows. Some people don't even know why it's selling so well. What would you think? What would be your reason why the PS4 is selling so well?
Two things: power, 1080p.
Power and 1080p, and you think that's what moved the console? Nothing else?
No, not really nothing. I mean, the whole thing with Microsoft and the DRM, but it's mostly, hearing YouTube playing, it's mostly power and 1080p. So, when you hear that it's the strongest console, which this generation everyone wants, and then you hear like every game is supposed to be 1080p, 60 frames per second. You know, that's YouTube wants. You know what I'm saying? They want that for the people. You know what I'm saying? They want 1080. So that's what I think the big hype for the PlayStation 4 is coming from is the power and 1080p.
Well, one thing to take into consideration, before this generation started, that they were kind of boosting the PS4, like they're like 1080p, 60 frames per second. That's all we heard from everybody. I think even Microsoft was saying that on their side, if my memory serves me correct. That's all they said to get these consoles going. So I remember one day I was working with my brother, and we were riding home one night, and he brought that up. He was saying, he was disappointed in this generation because they were, talking about how all these games were 1080p, 60 frames per second. A lot of these games aren't doing that. Not all of them. You know what I'm saying? But that's how they made it sound before it all came, before this generation started. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And
now we're in a generation where you are seeing that. There is a lot of games that do have, but there's not all games are doing that. So that's one selling point that they did get. I do agree with you. They were saying 1080p, 60 frames per second. What was the other thing? 8 gigs of RAM. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's another thing. What do you think, Baba Kakarok? Why do you think the PS4 is selling so well? Is he there? Oh, I guess he's not taking it.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. I forgot. I was talking with my mic off. Because it didn't fuck up at launch.
Oh, okay.
The Wii U fucked up at launch. Microsoft, Xbox One fucked up at launch. PS4 is the only console this generation that didn't fuck up at launch. And they actually bothered to. Yeah, they bothered to advertise it. Yeah, because right now its real current problem is, first-party games right now, or the exclusives. That's what everyone's talking about. And after E3 this year, I can see myself getting a PS4 now. At least next year I can, because 2016 looks like it's going to have a big list of exclusives.
Oh, yeah, next year's exclusive PS4 gonna be great.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really the exclusives, and I notice a lot of people are talking about hashtag better PSN.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, let's go into that. What's the whole deal with that?
Shit, I don't own a PS4, but from what I've heard, a lot of people are not satisfied with Sony PS4's online capabilities, especially since you're paying PS Plus in order to use online in the first place. Because I've heard that it gets shut down a lot, and also I know PS4 also has some weird things where it cannot do where the PS3 does better.
Mm-hmm.
But
on the PlayStation 3, I liked how when your friends got online, it told you. This thing, all I noticed, it tells me when people get online. It don't tell me that. It tells me when people go to party chat.
Yeah, I know that too.
You know what I'm talking about?
Sorry, what was that?
No, but the PS3 that I liked, it told me when my friends got online. This time around, the PS4 tells me when people go into party.
Oh, I never even bothered using party chat.
Yeah. It's just kind of stupid that they did that. I wish they would just, tell me. I like to know what online. Are you there?
Sorry, I had to move.
No, I didn't know if you were there or not.
Sorry, could you say that again?
No, what I was saying, you brought up the whole thing of, you were talking about, somebody in this podcast brought up things about the whole thing when they notify you about when your friends come on. Like you're talking about things. What you said was things that the PS3 did that the PS4 doesn't do, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody mentioned about the party chat features or something like that, but
Yeah. What it does basically, it tells you when your friends go into party chat. So when where the PS3 would tell you when your friends came on.
yeah, because what a lot of people don't like about PSN right now is how it keeps going offline or going down for maintenance when people want it to be, because they expect premium service if you got to pay for online.
True that.
Because I can't remember which game it was. I think it was Destiny for the PS4. I remember people complained that that game got DDoSed to shit, and it took them quite a while for them to fix it. And a lot of people are demanding refunds for PS Plus. Also, another thing was that the PS Plus free games, some people are complaining that the games you get for free is not nearly as good as what you'd get for the PS3. Like they complained about getting indie games all the time. In fact, I think that's something you complained about, Dave.
Yeah, they have to step their games up in PlayStation Plus. The games we get are like basically all indie games, and so you look at the PS3, they're getting AAA. You know, by now you think you would get Knack or Killzone on PlayStation Plus. Yes, they did give us Drive Club, but they gave us half the game. Like I'm talking about, they should be giving us some kind of AAA games by now. They did give us. Now we have to take into consideration we did Injustice and we did Metal Gear. I'm talking about like some game that's actually a full-fledged game. You know, I mean, one game Injustice, and they didn't charge for PlayStation and PS3. You didn't have to have it. Like they're forcing you into it this generation to play online. You know, just saying. How's it going, Huey? Does volume work?
You guys can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. I remember you had your audio, like never, you know, so you actually got that fixed. Cool, man. I was worried.
Yeah, I just got.
Audio work.
Yeah, I just got the latest update, so I guess it fixed the problem.
Okay. What were you? Babakaka Rock? Go what you were saying, and then we'll go from there.
No, I was pretty much almost finished because yeah, about because PS3, I remember they did get like Borderlands 2, the complete edition for free on PS Plus, and they also got like the whole Batman Arkham series, well, aside from the new one that they actually did get for free. And yeah, it's PS4's choice is underwhelming. I can see why they're doing it. They're doing it because they're being cheap. They don't want to pay the big bucks right now. Because indie games is so much cheaper. Because I believe a lot of colleges for game development, they actually, like Sony actually tries to advertise that they'll develop for our games, and I think they actually give away like dev kits for the PS4 and the Vita. Because of that, a lot of indie developers are leaning towards the PS4.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Huvie, since you're on the podcast, we're talking about this is basically all just about, you know, Sony, their current position in the gaming industry. I did one with Nintendo, just trying to update you to this podcast that I weren't watching. Basically, we're just going in all about Sony. This is all what their current position in the gaming industry is right now. What would you say for the PS4? Would you say what made you think the PS4 sold so well?
I think it's a combination of several things. I think for one, Microsoft fucked up. You guys can hear me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Microsoft fucked up, obviously. I think that I'm sorry, there's my motorcycle coming through. You know, obviously Microsoft fucked up. I also think the price point was the perfect price point. I understand the Wii U was cheaper, but you know, let's be real, the Wii U is not necessarily a next gen console.
Mm-hmm.
The price point, I think, and I also think that I just think that a lot of people have grown up with the PlayStation brand. I think the recovery that the PS3 made over the last half of its life cycle, I think really carried over with their mindset when it comes to like embracing indies, making new IPs. I think that's kind of carried over, with the PS4. So I think that's part of I think that's why I think it's number one right now. So.
Mhm. Okay. Someone in the live chat said, shout out to you, Yoshia Ramirez, if I'm saying it right. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I meant to give you a shout out. You asked. You said, no, and indie games actually need this. PSN is a really good help to the indie developers, and that is really good. Yes, I do agree. PSN does help indie developers, but I'm talking about PlayStation Plus. If you look at the PS3 sides of things with PlayStation Plus, they're actually getting, good games, good AAA games. PS3, they're not forced to buy PlayStation Plus to play online. PS4, basically, the main reason a lot of people are getting PlayStation Plus is to play online. So you think they would make it a little bit better for PlayStation Plus and more appealing? Would you guys not agree, or?
Well, I mean, I'll answer this. I just think what they've done with PlayStation Plus is they've used it as a way to justify, paying people to play online so that they can rebuild and fix the infrastructure. But you have this campaign with Better PSN, and a lot of people feel like they haven't done that. So you have that, plus you have so far a list of games that are free that are like big AAA games, that you get on the PS3. And I think a part of it is Sony's fault and part of it's our fault. Like for us, we have to be patient because the system's still relatively new. Like I understand you have games like Knack that are for free, but let's be real. Like who the hell wants to play Knack? I don't want to play Knack. You know what I mean? So whether it's free or not, like regardless of whether it's free or I pay like $1 or $2, I'm not playing Knack. You know what I mean? I'd much rather play a game like Rocket League, than Knack, no matter if it's free or I have to buy it from the store. You know what I mean? Like I understand that they can offer games like Infamous Second Son for free, Killzone Shadowfall for free. I think they should have already done that, to be honest with you. But I think part of it has to be that we have to be a little bit more patient and give some of these smaller games a try. On Sony's side, they have to fix PSN. Like I mean, obviously I don't have the PS4 yet, which I'm getting next week, by the way. I will have it next week.
Cool.
But they need to fix PSN because if you're going to charge people to play online, you have to make it more. You have to make it more, more stable, and you have to make it on par with PSN.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not PSN, Xbox Live. Like, I don't think Xbox Live is the end all be all, but it's stable. Like, especially when it was on the 360, it was really stable. So they need to really step up their game in that department because campaigns like Better PSN don't start unless there's legit problems. So,
All dirty. You have Xbox Live and you have PlayStation. You have PlayStation Plus. You have both a Xbox One and PS4. In your opinion, which one has the better online? And I'm talking about not with games and what they have to offer. I'm talking about like connection-wise, which one runs better servers. Because you played Grand Theft Auto online, right? On your Xbox One, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you played many games on the PlayStation 4 online, like Call of Duty, UFC. What would you say has the better connection this generation, like in quality?
I'll have to go with Xbox Live. The reason why I say that is, with the PlayStation 4, when I first got it, what I'm saying, it was just hard just to send a message out, to anybody on my friends list, just to ask them a question. What I'm saying? It ain't like I'm writing a paragraph. What I'm saying? I put like 4 words tops, and it took forever for it to like reach 100%. And then sometimes even when somebody was sending me something, it would tell me I had a message. When I went to go check it, I couldn't see the message. Like I would see the message like a couple of minutes later, like it'll pop up, but I already got the notification, what I'm saying, like 5 minutes ago. Um, then, with PlayStation Plus, being down, what I'm saying, for maintenance work and stuff like that. Now, I can say from the time I got it last year until now, it has improved, but to me, it's still nowhere, up to par with Xbox Live because, and the reason why I say that is because I used to have my PlayStation 4 hooked up through my Ether cable, and now since I took the Ether cable out and I moved it, to another room, because I'm live streaming, and now I'm just direct Wi-Fi. It's like it got a good signal, but sometimes the PlayStation, I don't know, it still moves slower than it did when the Ethernet cable was in it. But with the Xbox One, I never had it hooked up to the Ethernet cable. I got it in a totally different room from my Wi-Fi, and it picks it up like butter. Everything is still smooth, even though it's not getting that 100%. You know what I'm saying? In the same room like the PlayStation 4 was, it just runs smooth and runs better. I can say from last year until now, Sony did, step up with the PSN and actually got it a little bit more stable because I can send messages and it just go through. I can get notifications and it comes in, but we still get that up and down, maintenance work, offline stuff like that.
And it's important to stress that like Old Dirty said. Oh, big shout out to you, Old Dirty, man. Been a long time, man. Too long, man.
Yeah, it has.
But I think it's important to stress that building a network like this doesn't come overnight. It's something that they have to build on, and as long as they hear that we want something better, and as long as they strive to make it better, I think they can do it. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah. One thing I gotta be honest. Somebody, Yoshia Ramirez, he said, I'm a PS4 fanboy and I own a PS4, but I'll say Xbox Live hands down. One thing I gotta say with Sony, on the Sony sides of things, with their whole PlayStation PSN. When they first started it with the PS4, it was a little rough. Sending messages, it took a very long time. They fixed that. They are improving. I got to give them that. But if I was to think back to the 360 days when I played, online gaming, it did run more smooth even on the PS4 than if I was to compare with the 360. But PSN is getting better. One thing you got to give to, Microsoft, they've been doing it a little bit longer than Sony, the whole online thing. So that's just, you would think somebody doing it longer can do it better, but I think Sony is improving. The friends messages have improved. What was another horrible thing, Old Dirty, that was going on with the PS4? It was friends messages, and wasn't there another thing too? Trying to think.
It was. I think it was friends list. Like I heard that after when you try to go past the A B or whatever, and then it just froze or something like that.
Well, just telling when your friends are online, the damn thing would keep spinning. Like I'd be looking get people online, it would just keep spinning. But they have improved that. You got to give Sony that. They have improved. I think it'll get better and better. You just got to give them time. They're Microsoft has been doing it longer, and you would expect Microsoft to have a better online, but I don't think it's that much better. I will say that. But if you were to look at the deals like PlayStation Plus compared to Xbox Live in a sense of who has the better deals, I would say PlayStation Plus. Because I looked on my brother's Xbox One and their deals, and I compared it to PlayStation Plus. They're doing a better job, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? Games, free games a month, for PlayStation Plus versus Xbox Gold. What do you think, Old Dirty or UV or Baba Kakarot? What do you think has the better offer of the two for like free games?
For right now, since I got both, I would say they on par with each other. You know what I'm saying? Since I had the Xbox One, there were a few games that was cool that they gave us. But like I said, I think the 360 get better than the PS3 and 360 get the best. But between the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, I would say they just right on par with each other. Since I had both of them, they right on par with each other. What they giving us, nothing spectacular. You know what I'm saying? Some good stuff, but like I said, nothing spectacular like you would think they would give us.
Hmm.
I get them about a tie.
Okay. All right. Yeah, basically, the whole thing with the PS4, like going back to what we were saying in the original question, was why I think PS4 is doing so well. I never got to really answer that. I think a lot of it to do is hype. I think the hype, they were good at advertising. I think they advertised the hell out of the PS4. But I do think, if you really look at the industry, where all the games are is third party, and whoever has the better third party usually wins. That's what happened with the 360. They had the better third party support, like exclusive wise, like what games got exclusive stuff to that third party game. Like Sony's pulling that whole thing now. They got the whole Call of Duty, exclusive rights, the DLC a month ahead of time. Then they got stuff going on with Destiny and other big games. I think that's another selling factor. And I think, too, the games look better on the PS4, third-party wise. But next year, Sony does have exclusives coming. They have Uncharted and a lot of other games that are going to be pretty good. I think both consoles, from an exclusive standpoint, isn't really doing that well. That's one thing the Wii U does do well is exclusives, but
I mean, they don't have anything else. To be fair, they don't have nothing else. And I'm not going to talk about Nintendo because
yeah, we're trying to avoid Nintendo as much as we can. I did mention Satoru Iwata did die, and I do want to say this. I didn't say I was happy he was dead. I said it might help things with Nintendo. Somebody's like in the comments section, that's harsh. No, I'm not happy the guy died, but they might get somebody else in there now that runs the company a little bit better. But it's not I'm happy he's dead. It's not like that.
Yeah. I saw the news on Twitter. It was very sad.
Somebody's like, that's harsh, Dave. No, I wasn't meaning like I was happy the guy's dead. No. But what were you going on about? What were you saying, Hubie?
Well, to answer the question about which free games are better. I mean, in the beginning, I don't know what the hell Microsoft was thinking with some of these games for gold. Like they were giving away this shitty ass games for free. And you look at especially with the PS3, they're giving away I think they have Dishonored for free. I know they've given away BioShock Infinite for free. I mean, it was embarrassing. They've gotten better at it, but I still think that me personally, I think the PlayStation's been better because I think I got Ollie Ollie 2 for free and I got Hotline Miami 2 for free. I think did I get Hotline Miami 2 for free? I don't remember, but I know I got a couple of games off of PSN for free, and you can't really complain about that. So.
Yoshia Ramirez says, I hate when the companies do that. In my opinion, exclusivity is stupid. Everyone should get the same thing. It's dumb trying to steal users by just putting a few extra cameos or skins in one console. I get what you're saying, but to us, a lot, with the whole Call of Duty thing, some people like when that console gets exclusive DLC first. Back in the day, Sony had Grand Theft Auto exclusive. 6 months, and that was I don't know why they ever gave that up, but that was exclusive to Sony consoles, the whole GTA, they got the game first. And then I noticed the next big thing was Microsoft having, Call of Duty exclusive a month. Now Sony's got it, and a lot of people are actually happy about that. And I hear a lot of people are actually going over to Sony now that was on Microsoft consoles.
Yeah, that's the main reason for the deal. Like those diehard COD players who play on Xbox because they get DLC for first. Those are the reason why those deals get done. Like if you take away at least, I'd probably say like 20,000 people, you take them away from Xbox and bring them over to PlayStation. That's to Sony. That's worth whatever money that they're paying Activision to get exclusive marketing rights. So I mean, that is the way the business is now.
Yeah. It's all who's got the more, it's that they have to do something with third party, like get exclusive rights. Like Batman, the PS4 version's got, exclusive DLC. Yeah. They even had a fucking Batman PS4 console, like a bundle. They're going, and to some people, believe it or not, when they were to watch the commercial on TV, they think, and believe me this, they think that fucking that Batman's exclusive to the PS4. Yeah. Some people think that because they don't follow gaming news, and Sony plays that trick really good. They can make you think that game's exclusive to that console. And don't say Microsoft never used to do it, because they did the same fucking thing.
Yeah, I remember they did it a lot with the 360. You see advertisements on the commercial to just slap the 360 right there on the center. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's just it's a trick Microsoft used to do, and it's like Sony's just using their playbook this time around. They're nailing it, and you have to give it to Sony. They're doing good. I think if it keeps going the rate it is, and like a lot of other people are saying, this console will outsell the PS2.
I still don't know about that. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I think it's on its way, but I mean, the PS2 is such a juggernaut, man. Like, it has so many, like, even though it was less powerful than the other two consoles, it has so many advantages over the other two when it comes to marketing. As far as game mind share, game share, like it's just, and I don't know if the PS4 can sustain that throughout its life cycle. So I mean, if it does, then it's whatever. But as long as the great games come, then I'm good.
Okay. Other than that, so do you think overall, with what's going on with Sony and their current spot in the gaming industry, can you see them winning this generation? Do you see Microsoft coming back from the dead? And well, I don't know what Nintendo is going to do with their whole NX, but with Microsoft sides of things, how they're taking their games and porting them over to PC and all that shit, is it like it's like pretty much a no-brainer that Sony's going to win this generation, wouldn't you say?
This console war is over. It's over. Right? The thing is that the only way that Microsoft has a shot is if they start selling a lot in Europe. Like a lot of the... Yeah, a lot of these
Spain. Oh, sorry. It's just that I remember in Spain, Sony was like going woo because like the Xbox One only sold like 150, whereas PS4 has already sold I think 1 million at this point and like 650,000 Vitas, and I was like, yeah, suck it, Microsoft. And I was like, I guess because apparently Microsoft isn't doing much in Europe to get Europe's attention either, and especially not Japan. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's one thing for the Xbox fanboys to get all happy about winning like a month or two in America, but you also have to remember there's also regions in Europe, and obviously you have Japan. But even if you don't have Japan, even if Microsoft is failing in Japan, they can still survive. It's Europe that they can't survive. Like the PlayStation is completely killing it in Europe, and until you can fix that, there's no way in hell they have a shot at winning. Not even close. Like, the console war is over.
So you would agree that the console war is over?
Yeah.
As it stands, yes. As long as Sony doesn't do any big fuck-ups. Because, honestly, it only really takes one mistake, like one giant mistake, and it could turn the tides.
Yeah.
But like Microsoft, they're learning. Phil Spencer's doing a great job with Microsoft so far. Nintendo is just there. They're the third wheel right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Sony it's only hashtag better PSN that's really going on with Sony right now.
Now let's get into one. I know I wanted to just go an hour, but I have to go a little bit over an hour because I want to cover this too. The whole Project Morpheus. Is that's Sony's one, the virtual reality? What do you all about that? Like, what do you think that's going to be good for the industry? Do you think that's going to help the Sony at all, or is it going to be a complete fail?
That's tough because I think if it all depends on the price point. If they can get a decent price point and really show people that virtual reality is the future, then it could be like a game changer for them. Not so much with video games, but with their tech and with their technology. Like, I think it could be a game changer. Now, obviously, you have Oculus Rift, you have this HoloLens stuff from Microsoft, so you never know. But everything depends on price point. That's because when it comes to building hardware, I think it's safe to say that Sony knows what they're doing when it comes to building hardware. They're very good at it. So it to them is all about price point. Now, me personally, I don't give a fuck about Morpheus. Like, I'm never gonna use it. The only way I'll use it is if it's in the store. I'm not buying it. I have no interest. But when it comes to a business model, like, it's obviously that there's a trend going on that's going towards virtual reality, and Sony, I think in order for them to succeed, they just have to get a good price point. So that's just my opinion.
All right. Yeah. I mean, what is your opinion on the whole Morpheus thing, Old Dirty? Do you think it's going to be a success? Do you think this is a bad move for Sony? What do you think is going to go on with it?
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's really going to be big for Sony. I think it's a few people are going to buy it, check it out, but I don't really see the whole thing with virtual reality just kicking off. Especially with the whole thing being around your whole face and head. You know what I'm saying? I would expect more of 3D and 3D TVs, would have taken off. But if 3D TV wouldn't take off because people complain about just wearing a pair of, shades around over their eyes, then I don't really see this really taking off real big, being successful when you have to have a even bigger thing, damn near covering your forehead and your nose and over your head. I really don't see it taking off. If 3D didn't take off like that, and you just had simple ass glasses on, I don't see this big ass thing on your face just taking off like that. I really don't.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Huvie? What do you think about Huvie, did you give your thoughts, or was it Baba Cockrock that gave his thoughts?
No, it was me.
Okay, Baba Cockrock, what's your thoughts on the whole project?
It's a cool idea. I'd have to see it in person first before I can form a solid opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But first and foremost, the PlayStation Move. Yeah, I can't believe they're bringing that back. Oh my god, I thought that shit was dead. But I notice it's mainly Japan that's interested in Morpheus. America's 50-50. Europe is 50-50. I'm 50-50. And yeah, the only way they're gonna do it correctly is the price point. I think maybe if it's $200, it'd be good. Maybe.
They said anywhere from $200 to $400. Possibly.
Oh my god, I would not get it at 400. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
200, I think, would be the perfect price point. Because as far as I know, that's like by itself, yeah, 200. If it comes with those light bulbs, you call it the PS Move.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it being more expensive, but yeah, right now I notice it's mainly just like Japanese games that are being developed for it. I haven't seen any Western games being developed for Morpheus.
Well, I've seen that short. What's that short? Was that a demo?
Oh shoot. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it though. But it's just that I can like, how am I gonna play the game? Am I gonna be like just sitting on my chair, laying down my bed while I'm playing the whole time, while like moving my PS Move? I just can't feel like what kind of comfortable position I'd be in.
I think basically you're just going to be sitting there, just like if you was watching a 3D TV. That's what the Oculus and all is just going to be. It's just going to be a device with the face, you know. And you're just going to sit there with the controller and just move the controller just like you would if you didn't have it on your face. Because I can't see a person having some on their face and trying to walk around their apartment or their house, you know, while they're playing the game. You put into furniture, you can't see.
Well, it's kind of like, if you think about it, kind of like the whole Wiimote bullshit. You go back to that, where you get up and you stand up and you're doing this and doing, you know, acting like a bow to shoot, like in Zelda. I mean, it's no different.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like with virtual reality, you're still going to be, you know, sitting down, standing up, however they're going to want you to play. But you still gonna have a controller. It ain't like it's hands free and you be able to like walk around and stuff like that. You still have to move your character.
From what I've seen with the PlayStation, they had like, I think it was on one of the Tonight shows, maybe it was on Jimmy Fallon, where Channing Tatum actually did it. I think they were using the PlayStation Move.
Mm-hmm.
You know what kills me? You know, you got all these Nintendo people. You know, I'm talking about, I'm not trying to get into Nintendo, but just how the Wii U fans always say they want gameplay. They want gameplay. They want gameplay. They want to be immersed in the game. Blah, 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 blah. Here's virtual reality, and you're going to be using probably the Move or something, and it's putting you in the fucking game. You know, it's a new way to play, and nobody wants it. That's what I understand. Those motherfuckers be all over it.
The thing with Nintendo fans is, they want innovation when Nintendo does it. When anyone else does it, they don't want it. So that's just that's just something I've learned over the years about Nintendo fanboys. Not all Nintendo fan, but the fanboys.
Well, you can't deny that this is a new way to immerse you into the game. This is a new way. It's not your, you know, it's always, they want new gameplay, new ways to play the game. You know, there you go. It's fucking virtual reality. Now, do I know if it's good or not? No, because I never tried it. But they said you have to experience to actually know what this is going to be. And it's been getting very good feedback. And it looks like the industry is focusing on virtual reality. I see Microsoft's doing it. I see Sony's doing it. And and they've been asking Nintendo if they're going to do it. And they said, I think Reggie said something if it's like a social aspect or something. He gave some weird fucking answer, you know. I don't even want to comment on what he said, but I think if you're going to go anywhere different in the gaming industry, if they have to like do some innovation, this is going to be it. You know, if it could fail like the Virtual Boy, but you got to take the Virtual Boy out of when you think about virtuality, don't think about that shit. That was something that you just put your eyes on. It wasn't like how this is going to be. Yeah, this, I'd say, is probably something more like if you ever went to Universal Studios and rode the Spider-Man ride or Back to the Future, and you're actually, it kind of tricks you to you're actually being there actually in the Back to the Future car or like up on a fucking skyscraper with Spider-Man. I think it's going to take off, but I do think it has to be priced at a reasonable price.
But see, can I go back to what Huvie had said, you know, with Nintendo fans, you know, likes it, you know, when Nintendo brings out something innovative. And he's true on that. It is, you know, the Nintendo fanboys, it's true. But I look at the Rift and Oculus, if they do put it at a good price point, you know what I'm saying, it may shoot off. But my whole thing with it, why I think that it won't happen, is because when you just think about the people on YouTube, not outside of YouTube, just YouTube, you know how anything is innovative, they hate it. You know what I'm saying? They hate the fact that Nintendo will try to innovate, you know, change the way you play the game, the controller, or whatever. You even hear them talk about, oh, I hate 3D movies, I hate 3D TVs, and blah, blah, skippy. So that's why I'm like, okay, this Rift and Oculus that they trying to put on us to play, it's not going to work in the YouTube community because they don't like innovation. They don't like change. You know what I'm saying? They don't like when Nintendo change up controllers and stuff like that or give you a different way to play. They don't like it. And that's why I say, and even with the PS3, when there was 3D, PS3 games, when you had the TV, they didn't like that. They didn't like the movies. They didn't like the TV. So I figured, why would they like the Rift and the Oculus for the PS4 and the Xbox One? If they didn't like those innovations, what make them like this all of a sudden?
I don't know. I mean, I think if you would go back to where if I was a child, when I was a kid, I was always thinking, when are we going to be in virtual reality? If I go back to that point when I was thinking that, I would have thought we'd already been there by now. I mean, that's the only way that's the only direction they can go to get you off of just sitting here with a controller and looking at a TV. That's the only way they can go is virtual reality. I would have thought we've done that a long time ago. With all their advances in online and all that shit. Now, I mean, I think the next step will be virtual reality, and I think it's going to take off. That's just me. I think it's got to be price point. It might come out a little rough. I think eventually it'll get going. I think they just got to do it right. As long as they do it right, it's fine. I think there will be if Sony fucks up with it, it's going to be somebody else that does it right. Somebody else will come out with virtual reality and do it right. I think eventually that's where gaming will go. For the next innovation. That's just my thoughts. But I do agree with what Old Dirty's saying and, Hubie, everybody. But I do think it's funny with Nintendo fans, as much as they sit here and bitch about innovation and all that they ain't all on this fucking virtual reality. I thought they'd be the first ones jumping this because they always want gameplay. Gameplay first, graphics second, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just more about what they want Nintendo to do. And listen, I mean, at the end of the day, I think all fanboys are like that. So but I'm just talking about from my personal experience. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we covered pretty much a lot of stuff with Sony. I went over the hour mark, but I mean, I forgot about the whole Morpheus thing. I wanted to get in that. Anything else you guys want to mention about Sony? I think they're killing it in the industry right now. They got the install base of the Wii U and the fucking Xbox One. I think there's no stopping Sony right now. I think they're doing really good. I don't know what else to say,
I mean, the only people that can stop them is themselves. And, unfortunately, we've seen that before from Sony. So, if they can, pump out the games, continue getting, continue having good relationship with third parties, then I already said they've won this race already. Just don't fuck it up. Like, that's all there is to it. Just don't fuck it up.
I mean, they fucked up a little bit with the PS3, but they made up for their mistakes. They listened to what was, they listened to everybody, what they did wrong. They, had this overpriced console. The PS3 was like $600. Then they learned from their mistakes. They did things right. Fucking Nintendo, all they were after was the next gimmick. They thought tablets were going to take off, and that's not the case. Tablets did take off in the tablet market, but not for home consoles. Microsoft thought you were going to be innovative with your fucking TV. They were wanting to do all kinds of TV features. Sony went for the gamers. They pretty much went after the games. They went after what people want. A lot of people want this generation. They want, games. They don't want TV features and all that. That's the only thing about virtual reality I'm worried about. Maybe people might not take off with it. I think it's going to take off once people experience it, if they do it right. Right? Like I said, I think eventually somebody will do it right or it will work. But thank you all for joining the podcast. Hubie 186, as always.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you. Great to be back.
Yeah, I really appreciate you joining. Haven't heard from you in a while, man. Glad you're still doing good and everything. Baba Kaka Rock. I always say his name right.
Macaca Rock, yes. Thank you, Dave. Nice talking with you, gentlemen.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming in, giving us your insight about the Vita. You covered that pretty well. I don't have a Vita, so I depended on you.
I missed the Vita talk? Fuck.
Yeah.
We went over the whole Vita in the beginning. Just basically a podcast about Sony and their current position in the gaming industry, like I did with the one with Nintendo. And I want to do one for Microsoft, too, eventually, probably next couple weeks. Old Dirty, as always, thanks for joining.
No problem, Dave.
And yeah, till next time. Thank you, YouTube.